Hey guys, it's Glenn from glenscarcollection.com, and now we are inside the 2011 Audi R8 V10 manual. So that means we have a gated manual shifter. People always ask me, if I tell them my car is a manual, is it gated? So all manual Audi R8s, whether it's a V8 or V10, automatically gated. If you have 3 pedals, then you have the gated shifter. Now, how do you know it's a V10? Well, from the inside, you have this that says V10. That's probably really the only thing, except the tachometer, I think, goes up a little higher. The red line's about 8,700 RPM. The gas tank is about 23 gallons, give or take, and I probably average, if I drive easy, 14 miles a gallon. If I drive aggressively, probably 12 miles a gallon. So let's start her up, and I'll show you a couple more things. This has the optional carbon fiber, which I also have the side blades and the door handles here, and front and back, and the mirrors are also carbon fiber. I think that was a $10,000 option. So this car is tested, was $175,000, I think $165 plus $10,000 for the carbon fiber, and the automatic also. The manual transmission was a free option. The automatic, whether it was R-Tronic of the early years or S-Tronic of the later years, was a $10,000 option. Once 2017 came, they were only V10s, and they were only dual clutch S-Tronic. R-Tronic was a single clutch. Backup camera, good for 2011. You also have front and rear sensors. Not sure if the sensors were standard or optional. I believe the backup camera was standard. Heated seats, which you have, no cooled seats. Climate control, very easy to use. So I kind of created Bluetooth. I kind of used one of these things so I can play my music. You get one of these, you pick it to a radio station, and then it'll Bluetooth to your phone. I got a phone holder for navigation because it's much better than a 2011 navigation. All right, so now let's take it for a drive. This is a dry sump, so you do have to probably drive 10, maybe 15 minutes if it's your first drive of the day for the oil to warm up. Love the flat bottom steering wheel. Love the gated shifter. Now, it's probably not the fastest shifter in the world since you have to go through the gates. But when I bought this car, and I can't believe I've had this car for 3 years, I was looking down the first couple shifts I made driving 2 hours home from the dealership in Pennsylvania, and but it actually falls perfectly to hand. The gates are in the right spot. I don't have to look at all upshifting or downshifting. The car does rev and must have a lighter flywheel because it does rev when you do heel-toe downshifts. The first time I ever heel-toe downshifted this car, you know, I kicked it up to about 7,000 RPM. I'm like, wow, this must have a light flywheel. Now, even though it is all-wheel drive, and all the first gens are all-wheel drive, they have had a rear drive version in the current one, and that rear wheel series version, RWS, in 2018. But all these first gens are all-wheel drive, but it is rear drive bias. I forget what percentage it is, 75, 80% rear, until the fronts need to engage. So if you go in a real steep turn, real sharp turn, you'll feel that the front grip, but typically it drives as a rear drive car, which I like. I prefer rear drive for a fun car. Here in the Northeast, you probably should have an all-wheel drive car because if it doesn't snow in the winter, it's very icy, and there is quite a bit of snow where I live. But for a fun car like this that you're going to probably drive 9 months a year, I prefer it to be rear drive, not all-wheel drive. But the great thing about this car, it's a rear drive bias. Handling is very good in this car. It's probably not a 10/10 car. It's probably more of an 8, 8.5, 9/10 car. I think Porsche probably has a little advantage in the handling department with the 911 and the Cayman and Boxsters. But this has a big advantage when it comes to sound. The V10 beats the, say, modern Porsches with the turbocharged 6 cylinders or 4 cylinders any day of the week. Now, this car is quieter out of the box than, say, a Lamborghini. They always say the joke is it's a Lamborghini with a suit on. There's a lot more interior room. So I'm 6 feet tall, and I've done a video of a Huracan Evo, and with the soft top, my head actually hits the roof. The Gallardo 2, which this is based on, the LP Gallardo, is a very sharp windshield. and it's almost like claustrophobic. And from what I was told, the Audi has a 5-inch longer wheelbase, and it all goes to interior room. So you could be 6'5" and fit in an R8 no problem. So your kids will love it, your significant other will love it. It's a very smooth ride with the magnetic shocks, and at the press of a button, the car really stiffens up, and you could drive at the track if you wanted to, or certainly your favorite mountain road. Gas mileage, to have fun with this engine and to rev it out, you're going to give up a lot in gas mileage. So starting this car, I was averaging 13. I drove like a granny to get to this location because I was behind slow cars, and I averaged 14.5. If I have fun with my friends, I'm probably 12 miles to the gallon, but you do have a big tank, roughly a 23-gallon tank. Ownership cost. So I've had this car for 3 years. I got a 7-year warranty from Fidelity. I go over the cost in that in other videos. I got 4 years left. I've had $2,500 in warranty repairs, and it was only for tire pressure monitoring for all 4 wheels. And that $2,500 is a dealer price. I'm sure you could get that replaced for $1,000 outside of the dealer, but that's what the dealer charged, and Fidelity covered it. And why I chose Fidelity over the Audi warranty is they cover the mag ride and Audi does not. Now, once your car is 10 years old, I got this when my car was exactly 10 years old. You can't get any warranty. So this car will be more valuable on resale for the fact that it still has a 4-year bumper-to-bumper warranty remaining, and no other 2011 you can get that warranty unless you had it already. And I'm glad that I did that, because originally I figured I'd keep this car 3 years, because that's a long time for me. I usually keep cars about 2 years, and get a 3-year warranty so I could sell it with 1-year warranty for the next person. If they don't want it, I can get the cash back from Fidelity prorated for that 1 year, or I could sell it, and that's a great benefit to have. You know, 1 year could cost you potentially a couple thousand in warranty repairs. What else should I mention? Values. These cars, probably with the 23,000 miles this has, is probably worth about 140,000 in that range. I would say at the height in 2022, about 165. Now we're probably, you know, back down to that 140. You know, 5 years ago they were 90. Before COVID, they were 90,000. So that's the people that did really, really well. I think if you get a 60,000 mile car, it's probably about 90,000. If you get a 40,000 mile car, it's probably in that 110, 120 range. I highly recommend it. Only 3% of these cars came with manual transmission. So from the numbers I see, they've made 13,000 V10 cars, only like 740 are manuals. So I think that's roughly 3%. I'm driving, so I'm not doing the math. So I think they haven't gone up yet. I think 2022 showed us that they have a lot of potential. And I think probably because it's an Audi badge, not a Porsche badge, that probably holds it back, just like for a while. The 05 and 06 GTs were $140,000 cars because people didn't like the Ford badge until they drove it and saw how great it was with that supercharged V8. Well, I think these cars are going to go through the same, you know, I don't think they're going to be worth $500,000 like a Ford GT, but I think we're going to see a renaissance with these cars. It might be 5 or 10 years from now, but believe me, we're going to see it, and these will be, I think, $200,000 cars, maybe even $250 if it's all original paint, clean Carfax. So if you have one, you should hold on to it. And if you want to buy one, I think the window is to do it now or the next 2 or 3 years. So start saving your money. 80% of these cars are silver, gray, black, or white. So from what I understand, there were only about 25 red and 25 blue V10 manuals. That's what I was told when I bought it. I don't know 100% if that's true, but it's been a super reliable car. You hear horror stories in these cars. I think the cars probably had teething problems, the early ones, 08, 09, 2010 maybe even, and I know some of the early ones had problems with the frame bending or twisting from the torque from this V10 engine. It is detuned. I think the Gallardo is about 550 horsepower. This is 525. Same exact engine. You could do a tune to get that 25 horsepower back. At some point, I'll put an exhaust on this car. I said it for 3 years. It reminds me of my NSX because it is very quiet from the factory. And what my NSX needed was an aftermarket exhaust, and that solved the issue. And I think that'll enhance the V10 sound of this, because it is quiet. When you put the, we're going to go under an underpass, so I'm going to lower the windows and you'll hear that V10, but just driving now, it's a kind of muted because I think there's a lot of sound deadening here. Running costs, oil changes at the dealer, and independents are really just as expensive. Oil changes are about $500, $600, depending what dealer or independent you take it to. It takes a lot of oil. There's a 10-cylinder engine. Brake fluid, I always, since I like to do some spirited driving in the hills, I always change the brake fluid. Brake fluid at a dealer or an independent shop is in that same $500 to $600 range. So that's what I spend a year on this car. And I think it's phenomenal. You have a comfortable exotic that's reliable, and that'll go up in value in the long run. All right, this light, oh, here we go. All right, so what I'll do is I'll roll the windows down just so you can hear it under the tunnel here. Or I'll say underpass. Unfortunately with the light. We have a ton of videos of me accelerating with this car. I'll do an acceleration when this turns so you can see plenty of that. And you really get that V10 howl. Very responsive engine because there's no turbos. So when you hit the gas, this car responds. And that's what I like. The turbo engines are certainly way more powerful, but you just get an instant response from the engine. That's what I like. And just when you think it's time to shift this car, you look down, it's probably at 6,000, 6,500. You have another 2,000 RPM to go. So it kind of reminds me like of my S2000, but instead of a 4-cylinder, you have a V10. So otherwise, this car is great. I should have bought this car a long time ago. I'm glad I still own it. It's been really close to perfect. And if you're an Audi fan or you're just a fan of V10s and a manual transmission, go for it. Now, if you'd rather have the S-Tronic, which is dual clutch transmission, any of the new ones will give that to you from 2017 on. The last manual was in this first gen, which would have been 2015. Now they went from an R-Tronic single clutch to a S-Tronic dual clutch in 2014. So if there was no 2013 model year here in the United States, like I said, this is 2011. Most V10 manuals you'll find either 10, 11, and 12s. They were pretty rare for 14 and 15 because now they had the dual clutch instead of the single clutch. So if you do want the automatic, make sure you get a 2014 or newer. And the dual clutch is very good actually in those cars. And that's about it. So I rate this car, you know, a 9 out of 10, and highly recommend you own one at some point. And if you can do it, definitely do it. I think you're not going to lose money buying one. Just buy one, you know, lowest mileage you can, 100% stock like this. And obviously if you can get original paint, clean Carfax, all that stuff. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And I hope you like this 3-year review of my 2011 Audi V10 manual. See you next time.